Hey peeps, welcome to another video. Today it is my July sewn lookbook. I think I have 8 things to show you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, I have 7 things to show you because one of them is still waiting to be hemmed and is down in the main house waiting for its hem to be leveled. But still, 7 dresses. No, 5 dresses, a top and a skirt. Not bad, not bad. So the first thing that I'm going to talk about is the dress that I am wearing. This is the Dolce & Gabbana looking fabric panel that I got from M. Rosenberg. I saw this panel and fell in love with it. Mum then sent me the email to it and just said, oh my gosh, look at this, isn't it just so you? And I took that as a green light to buy those panels. So I bought 2 panels. They're 130 centimeters. The repeat is 130 centimeters along the panel, and I think it was 140 wide. I bought 2 of them thinking that's going to be enough for me to make what I wanted to make with the print. When the 2 panels arrived, I kind of started thinking that maybe it wasn't quite going to be enough to make what I was planning on making, which was a dress. I had seen somebody else has made a amazing kind of over like a duster coat or a linen cardigan, and it's beautiful and it looks absolutely amazing. And that was my first initial thought, but then I just thought, you know what, I'm not going to wear that very often. I want to make a dress. And this is what I had in mind. So when the first 2 panels arrived, it was, I don't think I'm going to have enough fabric to create what I wanted to, and they'd sold out of it on, this is fabric is from M. Rosenberg, Stitch Fabrics, and then they put up that they had a half panel available, which was perfect, so I bought it. They messaged me and said it's only a half panel and the print, there's about a 10 centimeter thing at the end where the print has been sun damaged. Will that be okay for you? And it was like, nope, that's perfect. They said that there's the full head of the cockatoo on it and the sun damage was underneath. Totally perfect. So I cut the bodice out of the half panel, I cut the front skirt out of one of the full panels, and then I cut the skirt back out of the sides of the full panel, because beforehand I was thinking I was going to have a full cockatoo on my butt, which is why I have gone for a side zip in this dress. And I hate side zippers, and I didn't actually need to because I do have a centre back seam in this skirt as well. But I was thinking when I first started, I was thinking I was going to have a full cockatoo on my butt, and obviously I didn't want the seam going through the middle of that, so side zipper. Anyway, I've ended up with, I've got still a whole parrot left. Then last night M. Rosenberg put up on their Facebook that they had the final 3 panels of this fabric that they were ever going to get. And it took me about 5 minutes, and it was like, you know what, I love this fabric so much, I'm gonna have it, because this dress for me isn't perfect. It's close, but it's not perfect. Now that I have these other 3 panels coming in the future, I can revisit this dress and make it again, because I did really want this waistband in this dress to break up the parrot, because this is the by hand London Anna bodice. This is my go-to bodice with big prints because I feel like it shows them off really well, and I really like how this part looked, but I just fudged the pattern matching and it's just not quite perfect, and it really bugs me. When I finished this dress and put it up on the vlog, I said about that, and pretty much everyone in the comments was, I would never have noticed until you pointed it out. And I don't think anyone is going to notice, and this is a beautiful dress, don't get me wrong. I'm totally going to wear this. I do think it's beautiful. I'm really pleased that I've made it, and this is what I had in mind when I saw this fabric. I envisioned this fabric. This was what I was planning on doing with it. But this is not perfect, and now I have those final 3 meters coming. They're going to go into my stash, and at some point in the future I'm going to revisit this print and make something different with it, and I'm really pleased that I have that option. This dress is gorgeous. It is what I envisioned in my head. It's just not been executed as well as I think I could have executed it, and that annoys me. But never mind, like I say, I have more fabric coming, and in the future I can revisit it. So I did the skirt from the 9345. I think I have that number right, because I really like that silhouette on me. Obviously I've done it without the giant pockets this time. I didn't put any pockets in this dress. I did have to kind of just patch in a little bit at the corner here because the skirt front panel was wider than the fabric that I had. I should have done the same on the other side because there is this little white spot here which is actually the selvage. I'm going to use my mum's Inktense pencils to colour this bit in so that it isn't quite as just like this white thing that stands out, but there is a white thing in this in the slide there, so yeah. This was the first thing that I made when I came back from my 15 days off, and it was one of those ones where it's been sitting there for so long and I just wanted to get it done because I knew what I wanted in my head and I was determined that it was going to happen, and it did, and it wasn't quite right. So I love it. I'm going to wear it. I will eventually probably donate this one when I make my next dress, and my next dress is going to be perfect, and I'm really glad that I'm going to have the opportunity to do that. So yay. I stupidly have not bought any of the other dresses over with me. They're still hanging on the side, so I'm going to go grab those. I'm going to do the same thing that I've been doing for the last few lookbooks, where I stay in this for the entire time that I'm sitting and chatting to you, but I will show you twirls and then I'll keep the cutaway pictures up of the pattern and of the garment so that you can see what I'm talking about. But it is just absolutely baking, and the idea of having to get changed 8 times does not appeal, I'm sorry. But I'm gonna go grab the other things that I've made. I'll be right back. So as you can see, I've got a bunch of things next to me here. This is a pile of mostly successful makes. There's this dress and one other that I'm not 100% happy with. I can remake this one now, which I'm very excited about, and then the other one I have got enough fabric to change the thing that I want to change, so I'll talk about that when I get to it. But in no particular order, we have the Vogue 8997. This is going to be a sew along that's coming out very soon. I love this thing. I absolutely love this thing. I've had this pattern in my stash for the longest time. I have made it once before as a wedding dress for a customer, although I used the bodice from this and then a fit and flare McCall skirt, like to make it kind of a fishtail looking dress, and it looked beautiful. And it was something that I've had in my, like, I want to make this, I want to make this, and I think I've put it up for a vote a couple of times on Patreon and it never quite won. So I've been doing some things a little bit different over on Patreon this year. I have been picking the pattern myself and then letting the Patreon peeps pick the fabric that I use for the sew along, and that's been working really well. So the Patreon peeps picked this fabric. It is a viscose from the Textile Centre. This one was actually printed with, it's a directional print, but the print was going from selvage to selvage, so it was 150 centimeters wide, and I had 5 meters of it, so I had to cut this on the cross grain. It's worked really, really well. This is a beautiful dress, absolutely love it. It's got the biggest, floatiest, fluffiest skirt ever. There's 8 panels in this thing, and it's awesome. It's very good for twirling, as you will have seen. And yeah, I love it. I absolutely love it. I have lowered the neckline by around about 1.5 inches, and I knew that I was going to do that when I made the wedding dress for my customer. She wanted the neckline lowered even more than this. I knew that the original neckline was maybe a little bit too high for my personal taste. Yeah, like I say, I lowered it by 1.5 inches, and I really love how it turned out. This dress is fully lined. You don't have to line the skirt. I have done because that was what the pattern called for, and I thought I'd give it a go. But you don't have to. There is a way of you can just slip stitch the lining of the bodice to the kind of, it's kind of like an empire line rather than a waistline. That would be really easy to do, but I thought because this fabric was white and slightly sheer that a lining would not be a bad idea. I used an acetate and viscose mix from Lady McElroy via Sherwood's, and whilst it was a pain to work with, it wasn't prohibitively annoying that I wouldn't work with it again. So I'll have listed that in the description box down below. This fabric I bought years ago, so there isn't any more of it. I've bought it in pink and used it, the pink one, in another sew along for the 7537. It also came on a yellow background and a turquoise background, and I wish I had bought both of those because it's beautiful. I absolutely love this print, and I do have enough left over to make a top. I think. So yeah, I'm really pleased with this. We'll 100% be making this dress again, possibly even next month or possibly even this month. So yeah, really pleased with this one. Next up we have this cotton lawn from Stitch Fabrics and Rosenberg. I think I bought it at the same time as I bought this particular parrot. I was having a bit of a tropical birds moment. This is the 6696 shirt dress with quite a few changes. So this one has a full circle skirt on the bottom, and because this is a directional print, I use my 5-panel circle skirt to cut that out, and there is a tutorial for that. It has French seamed inseam pockets. I have used the back bodice from the Deer and Doe Bruyere, because the one thing about the 6696 that I don't like was the poofiness that you got from what they wanted you to gather at the back. I had initially turned, the first one I did the gathered bun, didn't like it. Next one I did, I turned it into a box pleat, which was okay. It still kind of stuck out, was a bit too voluminous for me. And so I've done the box pleat on probably about 4 or 5 of them, and then I substituted in the back from the Bruyere shirt, which is a darted back, which sits much flatter, and I love how this looks, so I'm really pleased with this. I have used coconut shell buttons, which I love. I do need to put in a waistband for this and to take the pressure off of the buttons, and I also need to put in press studs around the bust button because it is gaping a little bit underneath that. I will be doing a tutorial for how to do a waistband. Lots of people have asked for that, especially as I've been mentioning it for this shirt and quite a few other shirt dresses that I want to add them into. And you can easily add them in after the fact. They don't have to be integral to the initial sewing process. They are something that you can add into dresses afterwards. I will do a tutorial on that. Some other people were saying about the buttons that the way you want to place buttons is to try the garment on first, find out the fullest part of your bust and put a button there, and then work out the spacing from there. I did do that with this dress, but it is still a little bit too tight for me over the bust, just a little bit. I had retraced the pattern because the initial pattern that I traced was a C cup, and this is a D cup. Whilst it fits, it could lie a little flatter, and if I'd have put my buttons closer together, I think it would have, but these are very big buttons and I didn't want to have them so close together, so I am going to just put little press studs along the top here, hidden press studs so you won't see them, but it will help it lie a little bit flatter whilst I'm wearing it. Another way around that would be to think ahead of time and actually put buttonholes and then small buttons, and the buttonholes are only on the inside of the placket, so they don't go the whole way through, so you can't see them on the outside, but then you have little buttonholes on the inside that then help to button the dress up, so you have more buttons going down but only the visible, your decorative visible buttons on the outside. So there are a few little bits and tweaks that I want to make to this, but I love it. I'm gonna wear it. It's gorgeous. I love this fabric. They do still have 4 meters of it, I think, and it is on sale. It's £12 per meter, so I will link it in the description box down below if it's still there. I love this. Absolutely love this. I had 5 meters and I used all the 5 meters of it to make this this dress. As I say, it is directional. At one point I thought I was gonna need to buy some more because I thought I wouldn't have enough for all the panels to be cut out with the birds going the right way, but I just made it. It was one of those moments where I pulled the fabric up and I was like, oh no, there's not enough, but I managed to squeeze it on, so I was very pleased with that. 6696 with a lot of modifications. Love this a lot. So this is the dress that I'm not 100% happy with. It's the McCall's 7537. I have made 2 of these previously. The other 2 that I've made have got the longer sleeves on it, and it's the bishop sleeves, and I love those, and I use those bishop sleeves on lots of other dresses. This time I wanted something that would be 100% summer appropriate, so I put the little sleeve doodads on. These are cut on the bias, so they're quite floppy and flimsy, and I think it's those that I don't like. When I put this on, we had many conversations in the front room about the balance of this dress and the bottom band making it look bottom heavy, and watching the footage back, I actually think I like the bottom band on. I think it balances out. I think if I took this off or made this mustard, it wouldn't quite work with all of the blue that we've got going on up here. Lots of peeps in the comments when I asked about opinions of this. Lots of you guys don't like the bias binding. I do. In real life it matches really well. It does look a little bit lighter on camera, so, but then when I made my pink version of this and also my green version of this, there were a lot of people that didn't like the addition of the bias binding on those either. The pattern actually asks you to use grosgrain ribbon for that, but I didn't have any at the time, and I personally like how this looks. You know, it was an addition that I was going to make and I enjoy it, and it also means that I can cleanly finish the inside because all of the seams are on the outside of this and then hidden under the bias binding. So I think what I'm going to do with this one is I'm actually going to take these little doodads off, and I do have enough fabric left from this of both colours, and I'm going to make the bishop sleeves but I'm going to have the bishop sleeves in mustard to here, and then the bottom of the bishop sleeve be navy. I think that's going to work. It's going to have to work because I don't have enough of the mustard to do a full bishop sleeve. I do have the navy, but I do think that's going to be wrong. I think it needs to be the split colours to kind of tie in with the rest of the dress. But yeah, these little doodads I don't like. Lots of people were saying take the doodads off. I finished this off on I made this dress, or finished this dress on a live stream, and I did fold the doodads under, and I didn't like how it looked with nothing there. So I am going to revisit the sleeval area of this dress at some point in the future to kind of change it up a little bit, because at the moment it's not 100% right, and I think it's because it's not got the sleeves on it. And I love my two with the sleeves, and I do wear them, and like I say, I was thinking that the sleeves would make it less appropriate for the hot weather that we're having. And you know what, this is just a spring and autumn dress clearly, and my preference is for the longer sleeves. So next, oh, I'm sat on it. Next we have the Butterick 5951, I think I have that number right. There's a sew along coming for this one as well. Again, the fabric was voted for by the Patreon peeps. I love how this turned out. This is a very different silhouette for me, and I think it's beautiful. The fabric kind of hides all the detailing in this, so that there's two front darts, very, very long front darts, that have gathering in the sides here, and then there is gathering at the shoulders and gathering in the sleeve cap. These sleeves are funky. They are very kind of 30s, early 40s, and I think they look awesome. I was going to do a sleeveless version of this with this fabric. I thought this fabric was a little bit more autumnal. The sleeves themselves have gathering up the side here, which is achieved with some elastic, but I don't think it's pronounced enough. I think I might go in and just make the gathering section even more pronounced. I actually French seamed the sleeve darts, which I was quite impressed with. As I say, there is a sew along coming for this one. The only thing about this one is I only had a 22-inch zipper, and because I put the deep plunge on it, it has a built-up collar at the back, and they actually wanted you to close this with hooks and eyes here and then have the zip finish at the base of the neck. I personally don't like that, so I took my zip all the way up to the top, but I only had a 22-inch zipper, and my zip kind of only goes 2 or 3 inches into the skirt portion. It comes to about here, so I can get this on and off, but it is a little bit of one of those kind of wriggle in and out of it. Definitely can't get it over my butt. So you need a longer zipper, and I do mention that in the sew along as well. I think this dress is gorgeous. I was surprised how much I liked the skirt on this, and I can definitely see myself making more of these. I can see myself making a sleeveless version of this. The dress actually comes with a high neck sleeveless version, but I really liked the plunge on this and the gathering at the shoulders, so I think I will make myself a summery version of this with this entire bodice but without the sleeves. I'm so pleased with how this came out. This fabric is viscose. It was from Material Girl Laura, but she doesn't have any more of this. I always make a note to check the new in viscose section because she has some beautiful prints in, and this is just, yeah, I'm so pleased that I picked up some of this, and I'm so pleased with how this dress turned out. We'll definitely be making more of these. Then I have some more of the fabric from that M7537, and this is a hunter tank, and it is reversible. As you guys will have seen on my channel, I made a hunter tank a couple of months ago, and I fully lined it. I'd made one of these patterns before, and I didn't like how the finish that I could achieve by trying to hem these front tie pieces, because you were supposed to do a narrow rolled hem on them and to a point, and I fudged it. I didn't do a very good job of it. This was like 4 years ago, and I made it, and I wore that top. I'd made some matching trousers with it, so I really liked that look together, but it wasn't something that I was, you know, it wasn't something that I would have like let people have a look at close up kind of thing. It was one of those ones where it's like, yeah, this is nice, but this is not perfect. I've been thinking about it, and I was like, you know what, I'm going to fully line the hunter tank because I think I can do that, and I think it's going to work. And I did, and it was awesome. And I asked you guys if you wanted a tutorial, and you said yes, so I've made another one, which I've been wearing a lot. And then it kind of occurred to me that I could totally make it reversible. That's what I've done with this one. So this is navy on one side, and then obviously if you turn it the other way around, you then have mustard. And actually putting this on, as you'll see in the clips, it's not overly obvious that it's the only place that you can see that there's a different colour on the inside is on the ties, and it's not in your face. I'm really pleased with this, and I'm also kind of planning on making many more of these because I just love how it turned out. I really do. And I've been reaching for the 3 of these that I've made and wearing them a lot over the last couple of months, so there will definitely be more of these. Obviously it takes a little bit more fabric. You need at least 1.5 meters of fabric to cut the reverse, well, to cut the double layer or the fully lined hunter tank out. But if you have 2 coordinating fabrics of different colours, you obviously don't need quite so much. I was always planning on doing this with the leftovers from the dress. I cut it out at the same time. Now that I need to kind of revisit the sleeves on the dress, I'm a little bit bummed that I'd cut this out, but I'm glad that I did because I really enjoy this, and as I say, there will definitely be more of these in my wardrobe going forward. I'm going to make a whole bunch. And then the final thing that I have to show you is my denim skirt. This was the 2 meters of denim that I wanted to make all the things with, and I ended up picking the skirt because I thought that would be the thing that I would wear the most often, and I have been wearing this a lot since I made it. I lined the pockets and the waistband with the crepe viscose that I showed you guys that I'm going to make the half circle skirt out of. I have cut that out, it's hanging. I have leveled the hem once, but I think the hem's going to need leveling again, and I also need to cut out a lining for that skirt because it is very sheer, and I don't have enough cotton lawn in my stash at the moment to cut a lining out, so that one's still waiting to be done. This denim skirt, I love it. It leans very 70s, as you will see, and I'm really embracing that aesthetic at the moment. I think it's gorgeous. I'm really enjoying wearing it. I have finished all of the seams on the inside with the rainbow bias binding that Karen sent me. So I have done a bound finish on the seams for the inside and then done the hem, and there are tutorials on my channel for how to do both of these techniques, and it's in the mini tutorial section, so I'll link that down below. The only thing with this is I did put an invisible zip in all the way up through the waistband, as is my preference. This is a fairly thin denim, but I think I would have done better to put the zip up to the waistline and then make an overlap and a hook and eye for the waistband. That's what I'm going to do with my red denim that you'll be seeing in my August sewing plans video and fabric haul. That's what I'm going to do with that one, and I still have enough of this fabric that I can pick this waistband off, recut it and move the zip down, and I'm thinking I might do that. The first time that I wore this, it zips up and there's more than enough room for me to, it fits me, that it's not too tight. I can get two hands inside of the waistband whilst it's on, but the zip got stuck and I couldn't get it off. I was like, I'm stuck in a denim skirt and I'm gonna have to sleep in this stupid thing, because I really couldn't get it off. I actually bruised my thumb trying to pull the zip down. It's much looser now that I've worn it a couple of times, but I think I need to rethink how I do zips in slightly thicker fabrics. This method works really well for all the viscoses, but it does not work quite so well for this slightly thicker denim. And like I said, this is not the thickest denim in the world. This is quite a lightweight one. I love this skirt, absolutely love this skirt. I love these giant pockets. Really like these. I'm seeing myself making more of these in the future and putting embroidery on the pockets and really leaning into the 70s aesthetic of it. I think that would look really cool. Really pleased with this. Really pleased with this. The final thing that I made was the Gertie Butterick 6130. I think I have that number right. I made the dress, traced the dress, altered the dress, cut the dress out and made the dress in a day. I knew the sleeves were going to be a problem. I didn't think I was going to like the sleeves as was from the pattern, but I wanted to try it, and it was fabric that I wasn't overly precious about, so I thought I'd give it a go. There is 6 inches of wearing ease built into that pattern, so I ended up cutting a size 10, which is a size smaller than I usually go for, but like I say, it was a lot of ease built into it. The sleeves have 0 ease built into them, basically. It was a really weird combination. So the sleeves were so tight that I actually couldn't finagle, like I couldn't reach around to zip the back of the dress up. The next day I took the sleeves off. I cut out the 7537 sleeves, the bishop sleeves, and have put those on, and they work perfectly. But I'm now waiting. It's a quarter circle skirt and I'm letting it hang because there is some drop in the bias, so that needs to be leveled out. I sew the bias binding to it and hand finish it, and then that one will be done. But I haven't done that yet, so I'm not going to show you. I did pretty well, I think, for my July plans, because like I say, I took most of July off. I had 15 days of July off, and then I had 16 days of July working, and I got 2 sew-alongs done, finished this dress. Yeah, I'm really pleased with all the stuff that I got done. Like I said, the ones that I'm not 100% over the moon about are this one and the mustard and navy one, but I think I can rectify both of those, so it's not the end of the world. Which one was your favourite? Let me know in the comment section down below. I would love to hear what you guys think. So I hope you've enjoyed today's video. If you have, please give it a thumbs up. If you haven't yet, please subscribe, and I'll see you again very soon. Bye!